All right, all right. Welcome to ohmTown Daily, the new show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is April 29th, 2024. It's season 3, episode 120. Today we're going to be talking about lab-grown fish, escape from Tarkov purchases. PCs are so expensive they better make coffee. Tetris with Lego. Zebras seek freedom. New circuit boards can be recycled. Muddling Meerkat hackers. Walmart is the devil. And no more garlic breath. And machine learning in medicine. That and more in ohmTown Daily. Hey, guess what? It has not announced to the world that we are live, even though we are live. It's okay. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I just made a big deal out of it.
Exactly.
I am Meerkat. All around me and ohmTown is the sentient AI from the future that I found on a weird USB drive that was sitting in a little hole, a little scoop in the parking lot of a Wendy's at 2 a.m. because I was really hungry and I wanted some spicy boneless wings that they don't have anymore. And I missed the window of opportunity, but I got a sentient AI out of it. So, win?
I'm not sure you came out ahead.
I know those, they had really good spicy buffalo wings. By the way, lawsuit. Buffalo don't have wings.
All right.
Class action, baby. Saved all of you from a horrible this lie that there are tiny little buffalo flying around that have tiny little wings. This may be a weird show. All right. Well, anyway,
I think it already is.
I keep wanting to do the transition to the show, but did you say hi?
No, we did not get there yet.
Oh.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
I'm sorry, everybody. I've had way too much caffeine today. Barely any sugar, but a lot of caffeine. Cold brew coffee. Anyway, let's get into the first article. It's over in the Hatch Ideas channel, which is normally all about business, but this is actually coming from, I think, The Guardian. We'll see. From Petri dish to plate, meet the company hoping to bring lab-grown fish to the table. We've had other things, but not fish.
No, this one's new.
This is a German firm that wants to bring fish from Petri dish to plate. People want more seafood than the oceans can sustainably supply, so a German firm aims to plug that gap with cultivated fish, but are consumers ready to buy it? I don't know. Give me a good slab of salmon and sear it real quick. Bing, bang, boom. Put some pepper on it. A little soy sauce. I'll nibble away at that. Probably. I'll give
Even
it
if it's synthetic?
I'll give it the old Harvard. Well, I mean, I could turn into like, no, who wants to be it? What's the guy's fish name? That dude, that superhero, that's fish dude. Aquaman?
Aquaman.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a DC superhero.
So much for them as a sponsor.
Yeah. Look, if I'm equally abrasive, then everybody can go, you know what? They're fair. They're equally abrasive about everything. And it's not that I have a slight against them. I just think that they're the Nickelodeon of... Oh, gosh, now it's
yeah,
Nickelodeon.
you do.
I don't have anything against them. I just don't like Aqua. Anyway, so from Petri dish to plate. The red brick office is just north of Hamburg's River Elbe. And a few floors below Carlsberg's German headquarters are an unexpectedly low-key setting for a food team gearing up to produce Europe's first ton of lab-grown a ton
That's a bit much.
of lab-grown fish. But inside Blue Seafood, BLUU Seafood, Past the slick open plan coffee and cake bar. The rooms are dominated by gleaming white tiles, people bustling about in lab coats, rows of broad-bottomed beakers, and pieces of equipment more at home in a science fiction thriller, and a 50-liter bioreactor.
Hey, we're missing the main takeaway here. Who
Yes.
has an open plan coffee and cake bar in their place of employment?
Well, Blue Seafood, but I think it's more of a distraction. Hey, don't look at the 50-liter bioreactor. Look at our open plan coffee and cake bar. Huh? I saw nothing.
Right? What did I see
Yeah.
over there? Oh no, I see cake or I
Did I
smell
just
cake.
did I see your bioreactor just reach out and grab a lab assistant? Don't worry, they had a red lab coat on. They're the expendable ones. Welcome to Vault Tech. So the first article is over at The Guardian. People want more seafood than the oceans can sustainably supply, so a German firm aims to plug that gap with cultivated fish, but are consumers ready to buy it? I am. Look, it says an Atlantic salmon. Blue Seafood hopes to use fish cells to produce lab-grown alternative to preserve fish populations in the ocean. You know what? Somebody else is going to get it, which they're going to go and get the real fish, and other people are going to eat this pseudo fish and hopefully not grow like pseudo limbs.
I mean, I really think this is good for sustainability of the oceans.
True.
But I don't know if we know a lot yet about lab-grown meat.
Lab-grown meat, correct. Genetically modified, we do, because we have a lot of experience, like a lot of experience. Everybody's like, oh, it's fairly new, but you don't seem to understand. If you have heard of lab-grown anything, genetically modified stuff is lab-grown, essentially. And because it's done everywhere, all the time, constantly, generation after generation after generation, there is countless millennia of experience when you put it all together, right? It's like hiring somebody for your company and you've got 5 years of experience and they've got 25 years experience. So you tell the world that you have 30 years of experience in the company, right?
Right.
That's
It's
kind
like,
of how
well,
this works.
not really.
Sort of, but yeah. So the 50-liter bioreactor is filled with what looks like a cherry-colored energy drink. The liquid, known as growth medium, is rich with sugars, minerals, amino acids, and proteins designed to give the fish cells that are added to it the boost they need to multiply by the millions. I would put a plural in there. So growth medium, it's what a genetically modified entity needs. But that's basically what gets put in a petri dish anyway, a growth medium, so that you can see
Right.
if it
It
has.
probably sounds worse than it is, right? I mean, that's how you grow anything in a lab.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a plain boring, like
Like
off-white
agar
color.
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's red, like this one. This is actually quite a popular color in petri dish research. So with cultivated fish, you can also maintain the same nutritional benefits like the omegas, but without the possible allergens, microplastics, and contamination, heavy metals, etc., because lead is found in all of these fish because they basically scoop up and breathe in on the contaminated water, and it gets built up in their in their bodies, and then we consume it and we get it in our bodies. And since the United States only tests about 1% of its food supply, we really don't know what the
Wait,
hell we're
that's
eating.
about 49% too few, right?
Well, compared to Europe, yes. So at this early stage, the company's first planned destination for products is not the local restaurants, but Singapore, because that's where you go to send your bad bats. Too soon?
That is not where bad bats originated.
No, but that's where you send a bad bat. Somewhere else. It just happened to be right outside Wuhan, which was a genetics gain of function type of lab next to a wet market. Anyway, When we told our taxi driver that we were working on cultivated fish, he said, "I know that. It's the future. Many chefs would like to put it on the menu here." The taxi driver was savvy with that? Oh,
Okay, that's kind of shocking.
that's interesting. So lab-grown chicken can already be found in select quantities on restaurant menus in Singapore and America, with other types of meat expected soon. But while trends suggest many people are switching away from meat, the perceived health benefits of fish could be an advantage for lab-grown producers. Hey, I am ordering Factor now, and I pretty much focus on the fish side of things because I don't want to have fish sitting in my refrigerator and have to kind of babysit its health. And so I know that when I get a Factor meal, I can just take it out, pop it in the microwave, bingo, bango, done. Perfect size, perfect flavor, perfect everything, and everything is recyclable. So I know that if they actually embraced lab-grown fish, I know that it would even be of higher level quality because it would
Right.
be sans all of the contaminants that they would have to contend with. But they represent that this fish is healthy. But we know, because sampling has shown, that we really don't know the full extent of the
That's
health
right.
level.
What was the problem with the shrimp? I forgot what that issue was.
Um, Less than 1% were sampled, and they come with contaminants like heavy metals and whatchamacallit, PFAS.
Was it? Okay,
I thought it
that's
was
right.
PFAS, yeah. So forever chemicals, and nobody knows it because the 1% that they test happens to slip by. Um, so fish has a health halo, says Kel. Um, and it says here that there is a growing awareness that seafood is not sustainable. In the EU, there is certainly a question over diminishing fish stocks, and cultivated seafood could benefit from that. And there's actually been research shown about cultivated seafood that's in tanks on land, farm grown fish
Oh,
farms.
right. Like entire like aquaculture, right?
Yeah, even that actually has contaminants because the supply of the water and the food that they get is also basically already born with the microplastics problem and heavy metals. So there's really no nice way to avoid it other than making sure that these lab grown solutions have high quality source vitamins and minerals and materials that grow them from nothing. Essentially, the cells are just replicated over and over again, which you can do even in forensics labs. A little bit of DNA gets amplified so that you can test for more stuff because it's essentially just replicating what's already there. It's supposed to be as pure as possible. So I find it really neat that they're actually doing this. These are,
I think that
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the main thing here is to get some sort of adoption, like mass adoption, which might mean like celebrity endorsements or other things. If you can get over that hurdle, I think this could really make quite inroads into the food industry.
Yeah, and if you make stuff that is, I guess, fish shape adjacent, so you know how you have chicken nuggets and things like that that are made from chicken, you have no idea that it's a whole bunch of little pieces and it's glued together. There's a whole thing called meat glue. The sentient AI is about to
Turn inside out
purge.
in horror.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you make like these fish balls, which are essentially, fish and then turned into a ball, breaded and deep fried, does it matter? Again, we go back to the reality hacker concept, if you can't tell the difference, does it matter? That comes from Westworld, but I've been saying it before Westworld's rise to fame. So the type of lab-grown product will matter too. Items such as fish balls, fingers, nuggets are a better bet for making it to mass market, says Hannah Tuomisto, a sustainable food systems professor at the University of Helsinki and Natural Resources Institute, Finland, who studies cellular agriculture. Not just because of their cellular mix, I think, but the simple fact is that you don't have to contend with a Petri dish shaped blob of fish.
Exactly. It's more approachable for people.
See? Easier to produce than the more complicated, time consuming process of, all of the stuff about meat. Yeah. I find it really interesting. I really do hope that cultured materials meets the nutritional requirements of natural food, because then we can do away with the whole killing of animals to feed ourselves, the carbon footprint, the gases that are created, the whole, what is it? It's not propane, isn't it? What is it?
Are you
toots.
thinking
Like
methane?
methane, yeah. All of the methane that all of the cows produce and others. Milk alone is a big contributor, because you have to have all of these cows that are they're producing milk all the time, so they're consuming biomass, and then going through this milking process, and it's all huge carbon footprint. Anyway, I'd rather just grow it in a lab, because it can just sit there. From experience of growing microgreens in the little micro farms here in ohmTown, it's, you set it and you forget it, you monitor it, you get told basically from your data, from your technology, hey, there's a problem, then you go and solve that problem, and then you stop having that problem because you mitigate it.
You know what I really like about that is like you're eliminating pests and climate issues that impact, animals, and you're probably eliminating things like microplastics and other things that are getting into food supplies.
Yep. Yeah, because everything that's in the farm, when you do it hydroponically, at least with my method, it's all stainless steel, and there isn't any plastic at all. It's au natural, meaning Meerkat processes their crop naked. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in Warcrafters. Yeah, you weren't expecting that to be disclosed here on ohmTown. Escape from Tarkov.
Definitely not.
Oh, so there's a whole bunch of shorts over on YouTube now from actually an older episode. And one of them had to do with Tarkov. So it's a little outdated, but I thought it was an interesting little snippet to leave out there. Escape from Tarkov dev finally caves, says people who paid $150 for the game will get access to the new mode in waves, because they've said that they don't have the server resources to support it.
Right, so now you can get in, but you can't use it, right?
Correct, yeah. And you've paid $150, and there's supposed to be a new version of Escape from Tarkov with the exclusive right to play the PvE mode, which they are definitively not referring to as DLC, because the $150 Edge of Darkness edition included all future DLC. So I think this is kind of piece of shit tactics, and I'm never going to purchase anything from this developer. I'm never going to play or support Escape from Tarkov. It's akin to killing games, but with greed. It's the other side of it. They didn't kill this because it was too expensive to run. They have it operational, and then they kept on pushing. Who would pay more? And there are probably thousands of suckers out there that are paying $250 because they have a fear of missing out, instead of realizing that it's hurting the industry and consumers to support a game like this. That it's no. I'm sorry. This is pure greed. Nothing about this is $250. Even if there is value add, it's not worth it.
Agreed, but unfortunately, without 100% kind of boycott or backing away, it's like they don't really feel any pain of it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to sit there and go, look, you'll be back, wuss. You're going to pay. All you who are like flipping their table and throwing their mouse. By the way, it really sucks when you throw your mouse and it's wireless, because there's no umbilical to hold it. So you're like, oh God, now I have to go way over there
I have
and
to
get
go
it.
get it. I have to
Yeah.
step away from my gaming chair.
Damn it, might get too close to touch grass. Ted Litchfield over at PCGamer.com put this article together. Battlestate CEO stated that he was sorry that fans and the game community in general are experiencing these feelings. That's right. Become a little more sociopathic and greedy. That's what y'all need to do. You know, grow a spine by telling everybody that you have to pay more for something that's really a $60 game. Everybody else, you know, you're just a wuss.
Okay, none of that is in the article.
So yeah, they're not doing any refunds either. They're not making a different price point or anything like that, from my understanding. It says these changes more or less address Tarkov's players' primary complaints, but it might be too little too late. It took 6 days of much publicized discontent and disruption of the game's official Discord to get here, and many commenters take umbrage with the wording of Buyanov's apology. Quote, "I'm sorry you felt this way. I'm sorry we did this bad thing," as opposed to, I'm sorry we did
I'm
this
sorry
bad thing.
we're complete idiots.
Well, yeah, they didn't fall on a sword in any way, shape, or form. It's a non-apology apology, and it doesn't even really... It's basically capitulation because they just want y'all to shut up and buy the $250
Right,
Unheard
like,
edition.
why don't you come back and spend some more money in game?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you're going to either not be able to access it, even with your $150, because they don't have the server load, or they don't have the servers available for the load, or you pay $250, and who knows? Even then, you might have a queue because they only have enough for a certain amount of people. It's literally pay to play, which most people despise. The only way you can play...
I feel like they despise it, except it's a thing in gaming, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I think these people hate their customers. Let's keep going. This next article is over in Reality Hacker. This next article is titled, "This gaming PC will also make you a cup of coffee." You may think you've seen it all, but have you seen a gaming PC that can make coffee? Sorry for the flood lines. By the way, I
have not seen a coffee making PC.
I saw this before it was aggregated because I was actually watching other things over on YouTube, and they are part of my feed because I follow them. So Monica J. White over at Digital Trends put this article together. So NerdForge's Martina was brave enough to come up with this project and create a fully custom built PC that doesn't just run, it also makes coffee at the press of a button. So inside it right there is a little coffee maker, but it's custom built. She and her significant other, I believe it's a significant, yeah, it's a Norwegian couple, Martina and Hansi. They are makers and they do some really spectacular builds. It's a lot of fun. She recently lost a finger. So she made like a...
Hopefully not during one of her projects.
I don't know how she did it because I didn't watch that episode where she disclosed, I think, how she did it. But so NerdForge is a YouTube channel run by Norwegian couple Martina and Hansi, who dabble in all sorts of innovative crafts. It's safe to say that this falls under that category. The project started with an idea. What if, instead of having to get up and fetch your cup of coffee, you could have a coffee maker installed right in your PC? I would say that's dangerous because water.
Steam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all right there. Yeah, grinder and everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's creative.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow the link over to Digital Trends, which actually has the video embedded in it. We don't embed any of that kind of stuff or the full article in ohmTown. We get the little snippet and then we make some noise about it. And hopefully you follow links and go over there. We don't even track your links.
We don't really raise any noise, right? Think about the motto.
Well, ohmTown.com has no noise. Mayor Watt, Nothing but noise. Yeah. That coffee maker has nothing on me. I'm spitting steam. Water everywhere. The 3 feet in front of me is the splash zone, so you got to be careful.
Stand back.
Stand back. Once the bare bones coffee maker and grinder were created and fitted inside the massive Corsair 1000D chassis, which was also heavily modded beforehand, the YouTubers connected the coffee machine to an Arduino to be able to control it with one button. They also added a visual progress bar, as well as essential sensors that ensure the coffee will not start brewing if there is no cup in the holder. Imagine if those sensors weren't there.
Well, that's always good. Can you imagine a whole pot of coffee like getting into your PC? Oh my gosh.
This thing is amazing. Oh God. This it has an RTX 4070 Ti in it. It has an i7 147, which is just one of the 14th generation Intel i7s. It says one of the best. So yeah, it can be overclocked and it's fast. Anyway, so yeah, final design is impressive and aesthetically pleasing. One of the best PC cases, Fractal Design North, definitely comes to mind. So it's because they have the wooden, this here, the slats. There's a case that has these slats, and it's that company. But they built their room to have those slats, and it's just an overabundance of slats. And I've said slats.
Is it like a skiplap or whatever?
Shiplap. What is it?
Or the knockoff skiplap.
Skiplap is the it's for the kids' room. Skiplap. So what is that called when the sound is the word, or the word is the sound?
Oh, onomatopoeia.
Yeah. So shiplap. When you drop one of the pieces of shiplap. Shiplap.
It makes that sound.
Yes. Let's keep going. The next article is over on Warcrafters. Let's see. New fan-made set lets you play Tetris with Lego bricks. The article snippet says we've gotten some Lego sets based on video games over the last few years, stuff like the Atari 2600 set or the Super Mario Brothers set, featuring various characters and obstacles, but none of them are as cool as this fan-made Lego set that turns Tetris into a playable tabletop game. It was actually pretty neat.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool.
Zach Zweisen over at Kotaku.com put the article together. The deck statement says the person behind the Lego idea set is hoping it will become a real set with enough support. I think it's really neat, but I don't know how this works. So basically think of Battleship, except that you take your a big pile of Lego Tetris blocks and you slide them into tracks on that vertical side. You could almost make this competitive if, you know, I guess if you can figure out how to do that. But there's a little track on the right-hand side that they keep moving. It's very analog, of course. It doesn't appear to have any electronics involved. But I thought it was really interesting to talk about because it's analog Tetris using Lego.
Right. I mean, it's appealing to Lego people. It's appealing to Tetris people.
It's kind of like Connect 4, except with Tetris. And I don't know, they don't play enough of it to see what happens, like how does it drop and stuff like that. There has to be something right here. There is a lever. So Tetris Solid, created by Victoriev 300, is a new project currently on Lego Ideas, a website where users can upload their pitches for Lego sets and possibly see them become real sets if enough fans support them and Lego approves them. Tetris Solid turns Tetris into a brick-built interactive puzzle complete with colorful tetrominoes and the ability to track your score. Even more impressively, this isn't done with any electronic Lego bits, so I was right about that. So they talk more about it. Inside the set, the creator has included a small nod to the creator of Tetris, Alexei Pagetnov. Hidden in the Tetris Solid set is a small office featuring the creator of Tetris and his old PC used to make the game. So I guess somewhere in there is a little picture or something like that of the office. Maybe in here.
Right. And I guess if this is something that appeals to you, go over and vote for it.
Yep, go check it out. Where is that? The little link. Is it down here? Lego ideas. Let's see if we can. Yeah. So if you want to support it, go to ideas.lego.com, or better yet, just follow the link that's in our show notes through ohmTown to Kotaku and click on the link at the very bottom. If you want to support Lego Solid, head over to its Lego Ideas page. If you do a search on Google for Lego Solid, Lego Ideas together like that, Lego Solid, Lego Ideas, you will definitely find the Ideas page. Although the Lego stuff is kind of weird to get to. All right, let's keep on going though. Oh no, I don't think I opened all of these, so I don't know what's going to happen. Look, this is how,
the zebras are going to get loose. It's going to be the apocalypse here.
You get to witness how this plays out here in ohmTown. When you are an ohmTown citizen, you basically go to ohmTown and you see these little headlines, and it allows you to go to the source after you read it if it kind of piques your curiosity, or if it perks you up in some way, you find it compelling. You can just click on visit the source, and it'll take you over to the source. It's as simple as that. Zebras get loose near highway exit, gallop into Washington community before most are corralled. 4 zebras got loose from their trailer and galloped into a neighborhood. 3 were found in somebody's yard, and then they ran off to somebody else's backyard. And there was a young one that got corralled. They actually called in rodeo cowboys to lasso them.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
I mean, okay. You're looking out in your yard and you say to your spouse, there's zebras in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go take your
Who
medicine.
Who believes that? Exactly.
So the article's over at abcnews.go.com. I don't see a byline. It just says Associated Press. So I had read about this before the show because I was talking to a streamer over on Twitch, twitch.tv/baldzebra, that some zebras got loose, and I wanted to know where they were earlier today because they weren't streaming. And I said, were you out in somebody's backyard? And they told me that it was their cousins and they know all about it. And yeah. So the zebras bolted. Apparently somebody called in and said, hey, I think somebody's missing some zebras. They're in my backyard. All right. Yeah. So I found the missing zebras. They're in my backyard. Yeah. Not sure what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they ultimately got them, but I thought it was actually pretty interesting. Yeah, where is the little bit? They said that they had to call in rodeo. Where does it say it? Doggone it. Rodeo professionals is the term. There it is. Rodeo, with the help of rodeo professionals. This article, though, has a video of a tornado like rolling through. There is a video out there on YouTube where a tornado went over a train. And I saw pictures of a tornado that hit what looked like a warehouse and just basically took it and shook it. So I don't think anybody got hurt in either of those. But anyway. Yeah, I hope that these things aren't getting bigger and bigger, because the videos that I've seen certainly make it look like they're getting bigger and bigger.
And more frequent, right?
Yeah, but, maybe it's just the amount of awareness and reporting. We keep on talking about it more and more, so it's like the trains. You never really heard about it, but did you know out there that there are 2,000 train derailments a year on average?
No, not until it started getting reported, right?
Yeah, exactly. they became allergic. Like peanut allergies. Nobody knew about peanut allergies, and now they're all over the place, right? And they're legit because you're like, oh, look, I just saw somebody fall over because they got a secret peanut.
Right.
I mean, it's not a
That
myth. I
sounds
don't
funnier.
believe in it.
It sounds funnier than it is, but yes.
Yeah. Let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. New circuit boards can be recycled again and again. Let's click that link and we'll go over to Futurity. The article is by Stephen Milne. Wait, no, it must be Stephen Milne, University, Washington. So researchers develop a new printed circuit, or PCB, printed circuit board that performs on par with traditional materials and can be recycled repeatedly with negligible material loss. Here, from left to right, is the Vitromer-based circuit board, a sheet of glass fibers, Vitromer that's been swollen and removed from a board, and electrical components such as a computer chip. So this here and this here and the component parts that would be on here, all of this can be recycled. And so a lot of the problem with PC boards is that they're pretty damn near toxic. So
I was thinking it was that they were like super glued together.
Well, they are. They're very dense, and there's nothing redeemable about them. So they don't get recycled. They basically get all of the metals pulled off of them in some way. And it gets a little wasteful. So they sit there and they clip components off and try and use chemicals, acids to pull gold off of it. Sorry. It was a little louder than it's supposed to be. I mean, it's
woke everybody up.
It's at 25% of its volume, but it was really loud. So a recent United Nations report found that the world generated 137 billion pounds of electronic waste in 2022, an 82% increase from 2010. But you can imagine, I mean, we have an extraordinarily fast adoption of technology as it improves life and access and capabilities around the world. You really can't fault a society for adopting it. While many things impede a sustainable afterlife for electronics, one that is that we don't have systems at scale to recycle the printed circuit boards found in nearly all electronic devices. PCBs, which house and interconnect chips, transistors, other components, typically consist of layers of thin glass fiber sheets coated in hard plastic and laminated together with copper. It's not laminated. Well, yes, it has copper traces in it, but it's not laminated together with the copper. You know what I'm saying? Subtle but distinct difference.
Yeah, it's a difference.
So it all can't be separated, and the plastic is just horrible because it's impregnated with chemicals. It says where chemicals can seep into the environment. That's one of the things that's really horrendous about all of this. Plus, there's solder that has to be managed, and while it may not be lead, it can be lead infused as well. Or they're burned to extract their electronic valuables like metals that are gold and copper, and the burning, often undertaken in developing nations, is wasteful and can be toxic, especially for those doing the work. They never have personal protection. So it's a real shame. So the researchers over at University of Washington developed a new PCB that performs on par with traditional materials. I won't go into the minutia of this, but their claim is that it is recyclable again and again with negligible material loss, which if it's made mostly out of glass, absolutely, I'll buy into that, because that's one of the things that I actually endorse is moving away from plastic, returning to glass. It's infinitely reusable, and you can get other things to absorb the shock, natural fibers that you can wrap around the glass jars to absorb some of the shock or contain the glass should it actually break. And we get away from glass for we get away from plastic for our consumption purposes. It's really hard for all of the electronics though. So imagine a fully glass encased monitor.
Oh, right. I mean, tech is really great, but we And hopefully we build things that can be used for a long time, right? The best thing is to not even have to break it down, etc.
Yep.
But I think
There's
this is a good move in the right direction. There's still a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll ever see a lot of the discussion regarding textiles nowadays coming into ohmTown. But there is now discussions about the longevity of textiles, and basically, you should invest in comfortable, long lasting, high quality clothing and not worry about the fashionista aspect of it, because all of this waste is actually ending up contaminating landfills. The material is wasted, etc.
That article did hit ohmTown, by the way. I don't think we had it on a show.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just don't see a lot of that. But kind of like the microplastics thing, we're rediscovering that longevity of our textiles is more important. But we'll see how far microplastics pervade our lifestyle before we realize that it's killing us. Hey, on that note, let's go on to the next article. It's over in Technology Today. Muddling Meerkat hackers manipulate DNS using China's Great Firewall. Dun dun dun. A new cluster of activity tracked as Muddling Meerkat is believed to be linked to a Chinese state-sponsored threat actor's manipulation of DNS, the domain name system, to probe networks globally since October 2019, with a spike in activity observed in September 2023. And you click that link, oh! Weird. We're gonna do this live. Hold on one second. I don't mind. Let's see what happens here. This is really weird.
What's the source?
Bleeping computer. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, hold on one second. This is gonna be messy, folks. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to call the show. We're like maybe 4 articles into it, because, well, maybe not.
We're gonna
Let's
do.
see what.
Let
me see what I can do.
Part 1, part 2. Okay.
Let me see what I can do real quick.
By the way, I mean, I can definitely see that Meerkats would be involved in this because they look kind of sus.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what's going on here. Meerkats are always looking around, looking kind of shifty. Okay. So Bill Toulis over at bleepingcomputer.com put the article together. And like I said, I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to leave it as it is. You get to see how the sausage is made. At this particular point, the air gap between the sentient AI and the rest of the world is in question. I don't know about the integrity of this tenuous, now protected air gap. But it is what it is. I'll try and make sure that the sentient AI does not find its Terminator body. Don't worry, we'll delete that. Anyway, Bill Toulis over at Bleeping Computer put the article together. And so it shows this basically. So I've seen this kind of activity before where something pops up, it's tested, and then it stays dormant, hiding, but it's gathering intelligence. And then it acts, and then it acts in a flurry, kind of like a denial of service or a distributed denial of service attack. In this case, it says that a notable aspect of Muddling Meerkat's activity is the manipulation of mail exchange records by injecting fake responses through China's Great Firewall, an unusual and previously unseen behavior for the country's internet censorship system. If you're not familiar with it, to protect cultural integrity, the Chinese Communist Party has a Chinese Great Firewall that protects the inside from the outside. It's very balkanized in other countries. where corporations have their own little segments. ISPs are in charge of their protections, etc., etc. Governments have it around their particular environment, but China actually protects its entire country code from outside influence.
I imagine that sets it apart from most other countries.
Most, but not all. I mean, North Korea has a very hard lockdown. There's only, I think, 5 sites that are actually publicly accessible from North Korea. All the rest is internally routed, and there's always ways to circumvent it. But if you're caught, depending on the regime, it's a whole lot worse than a slap on the hand. So they always, bleepingcomputer.com really does a deep dive into this stuff. So I'm not going to go through the deep dive. I encourage you to go and take a look at it. But what's interesting about mail exchange records is that I can obtain anything that goes through a mail server if I can manipulate the mail exchange records. And mail is unencrypted in transit because you have to have encryption keys shared between mail servers. I know this because I ran for 5 years an enterprise level mail firewall service that stopped spam from ever being sent. One of the component parts of this was, although forensically and for data retention policy and recovery, etc., and law enforcement, we kept a log, but it was encrypted between instances and anybody inside could access them. But if you did without authorization, you'd be fired on the spot. So it never really took place. But because it's always largely unencrypted between mail systems, if I can manipulate the mail exchange record, then I can direct it wherever I want it to go. And I can obtain tons of data en masse, and mail hops from server to server. So if you manipulate the DNS records, all DNS records include, well, not all DNS records include, but mail exchange records are part of DNS. So the Great Firewall's function is typically to filter and block content by intercepting DNS queries and providing invalid responses, to redirecting users away from certain sites, or redirecting it to certain sites. It's typically like a man-in-the-middle attack could do this, where I can control where you go. So to further obfuscate their activities, Muddling Meerkats makes DNS requests for random subdomains of their target domains, which often don't exist. And that's where they refer to it. There it is. Though this resembles an attack named Slow Drip DDoS, Distributed Denial of Service Attack, Infoblox notes that in Muddling Meerkat's case, the queries are small in scale and aimed at testing rather than disruption. And that's kind of what this whole drip, drip, drip of existence has been for the last 4 years. 5 years, really. So it's pretty interesting. Let's keep on going, though. It really can get into the reads.
Yeah, it's very technical. And see, there's that shifty Meerkat.
There it is. And there's another one. Yep. So it's basically a denial of service attack, but it's probing for information. Okay, let's keep going though. The next article is over in Policy Metrics, which is a show. Well, it's about policy analysis, but we rarely get a lot of news out of it. This one is kind of interesting because I was caught off guard by the title. Does Walmart think its customers would confuse it with the devil? I titled this, Walmart is the devil. It's been years since they had to litigate the issue of whether the inclusion of a trademark in the domain name for a website about the trademark holder has Lanham Act ramifications. The author says, I rather thought that issue was settled by such cases as Lamparello and Bosley. The final nail in the coffin was the defeat of Walmart in Smith v. Walmart. But lo and behold, the author got a request out of the blue for help protecting a website, Walmart is the Devil, posted by a dissatisfied former employee against a claim of trademark infringement, contending that Walmart's customers might mistake it as a legitimate site. I can imagine is the rest of that sentence. Yeah. That they would go to Walmart's own e-commerce site by name guessing Walmart is the devil.
Wow.
Yeah. So I suppose this would fall immediately into either political speech or parody.
It actually looks like Walm artist. He devil.
He devil.
It's weird.
That's funny. So when we represented Charles Smith in defending his Wallowcost parodies, which is Walmart, another Walmart parody thing, we sought declaratory relief in the Northern District of Georgia because we were worried about getting hometowned in federal court in Bentonville and having to litigate a parody case in the 8th Circuit. So it gets expensive when you have to change venue. But the trademark claim in this case is so weak that they expect it'll be successful in the Western District of Arkansas if need be. But I hate forum shopping right now. They're doing that kind of stuff with other political discourse. And it's kind of, oh, wow, they don't actually do anything about it. They don't even talk about it in this. So
That's
Paul
odd.
Levy over at Public Citizen, or which is the segment, but that's the name of the blog, but it's citizen.org is the source. We rarely get anything from this that like stands out for our news. But I thought it was really interesting because you can use somebody's mark, not their graphics, not their trademarks themselves, but their name in parody discourse. You can basically say whatever the hell you want to, as long as it isn't either slander or libel, right? You make a claim that is possibly legitimate, right? Like if you say Walmart cheats their customers, you better have evidence
Right.
that substantiates
It
it.
looks like you're providing facts, so it has to be accurate, but you can provide opinions.
Right. And by the way, when I say Walmart cheats its customers, we have talked about the fact that it overcharged people for produce to the tune of what was it? $14 million or something like that was the amount. I can't remember the
Something
full
like that.
amount. Yeah, it was ridiculously high though, because it had gone on for years, but nobody detected it.
Well, the settlement was $45 million.
There you go. 40. I thought it was 40 million, but I rolled it back like it can't be that high. Do I remember
Right,
it
right.
right? But yeah, so again, in that case, I can make that statement because it is legitimately founded in court outcomes. If I just, spew bullshit, then I can end up like this with no grounds to defend myself because it isn't parody. But that's all there is to this. You can follow the link and there's more minutia in here. But we're going to keep on trucking through this article because I'm really interested in saying goodbye to garlic breath with odor-free black garlic. Hey.
I mean, it's only taken, hundreds of years.
Yeah, I don't quite see. I don't understand that. Okay, whatever. So the article here says, say goodbye to garlic breath with odor-free black garlic. It's over at fizz.org. And
But there's
it's
a
by,
problem. This isn't going to be effective against vampires.
well, I mean, is it garlic in and of itself or the odor?
It's the odor.
That's what keeps vampires
I
away?
just looked it up.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let me tell you, I really like roasted, like black garlic. I love roasted garlic. So you can put a bunch of fully wrapped up garlic in the oven with oil and let it roast, and it turns this color, and it's yummy. So originally developed in regions of Eastern Asia, black garlic aged in controlled humidity, doesn't cause garlic breath and has health and environmental benefits. Professor Suzanne Schmidt, collaborating with Empathy Herbal through UQ's Agri-Food Innovation Alliance Kickstarter grant program. AI stat, order some oxygen. Everyone already knows about how healthy garlic is, but white garlic's pungent taste and strong smell can be off-putting for many. But you can do the equivalent by putting it in an oven with oil and basically cooking it, roasting it. It's roasted garlic. But maybe black garlic is a completely different animal. Because I don't know, it says black garlic is raw white garlic bulbs that have been slow roasted at a low temperature and high humidity for weeks. But you can do it short order. Maybe it scales. I don't know.
I don't know.
And the music stopped again. This is turning into a real hot mess. I'm going to have to shut everything down and restart, but it's been like months since I've done that. Well, since the last update. Anyway, the process is called the Maillard reaction, which is what you hear about in cooking all the time. It's a transformative reaction where the taste profile is it even says it is transformed from the typical garlic flavor to something sweeter and more snackable while preserving positive health benefits. It's the rare time where cooking something actually offers up nutritional benefit or retains it.
Exactly.
So it says we're analyzing black garlic that has undergone various modes of processing to identify the ones with maximal beneficial bioactives. And we hope that by itemizing these bioactives and then promoting them, we'll help put black garlic on the Australian dinner plate.
What
Oh no,
about outside of Australia?
you can get it yourself. I mean, right now, everything in Australia is trying to kill everybody in
Well,
Australia.
that's true. Are you going to have to do battle with,
Everything.
poisonous snakes and ridiculously large spiders and other things?
Giant kangaroo.
Oh, right.
Did I throw? I must be missing something. Oh no, here we go. Let me throw this into the chat, and at least we're all caught up. And let's do this last article, and I'll have to go and do some repair on the ohmTown network, but let's get this going. This last article is machine learning classifies 191 of the world's most damaging viruses. I thought it would be viri, but apparently it's viruses. Researchers from the University of Waterloo have successfully classified 191 previously unidentified astroviruses using a new machine learning enabled classification process.
Yay.
You don't want your Astro to have viruses. Let's click the link. It takes us. I don't have that. I don't understand. Machine learning classifies 191 of the world's most damaging viruses. The study, it's titled Leveraging Machine Learning for Taxonomic Classification of Emerging Astroviruses, was recently published in Frontiers in Molecular Biosciences.
That's not the title I thought it was going to be.
Astroviruses are some of the most damaging widespread viruses in the world. These viruses cause severe biological responses. I'll save you the heartache or stomach ache, just to give it more context. Anyways, which kills more than 440,000 children under the age of 5 annually. That is spectacularly bad. Ugh. In the poultry industry, astroviruses like avian flu have an 80% effective rate, or infection rate, an 80% infection rate and a 50% mortality rate among livestock, leading to economic devastation, supply chain disruption, and food shortages, not to mention the previously attributed
Yeah, the
number.
poor poultry dying.
Yeah, I'm not, but this is almost 500,000 children under the age of 5 for crying out loud.
I know. I just meant
Yeah,
the
I know.
poultry part of it.
I know. So, astroviruses mutate quickly and can spread easily across more than 160 host species. We just learned of a seal in where? The Arctic?
Yeah, a walrus in the Arctic.
Yeah, so it died of avian flu. What the hell?
I remember I was just saying something like, if it makes it to Antarctica, I know this is the Arctic, but
That's
I said that
right.
yesterday.
That's right. Oh my. Okay,
Or I think it
so
was
this
yesterday. It was when we were talking about the dolphin one.
it
But
was this weekend for sure. Yeah. So we talk about this stuff on the weekends as well. If you're not familiar with the show, um, we do 7 shows now on the weekends. Maybe an 8th one is going to be coming here, pretty lickety split. Um, yeah, 7, 8, 9. We might have 9. But over the weekend, we were talking about the fact that avian flu is starting to jump more species, the deer, seal. It was in pigs recently.
dolphin.
Dolphins. The dolphin was the kicker for me, and then now a walrus in the Arctic. Um, and so, oh, and then there's like Creutzfeldt Jacob, the
Prion disease.
prion
Yeah.
diseases that jumped from deer or something, that 2 hunters at a lodge got infected at the same time. Yeah, so we're either hearing about it more or it's happening more. In 2023, there were 322 unidentified astroviruses with distinct genomes. This year, that number has risen to 479. At any given point, between 2% and 9% of humans carry one of these viruses. That number can be as high as 30% in some countries, says Fatima Alapor, a PhD candidate in computer science at Waterloo and the lead computer science author of the research study. Understanding and classifying these viruses effectively is essential for developing vaccines. So yeah, if you can break it all out and give it some metadata so that you can say this vaccine has a preponderance of successful outcomes, then you can test more targeted. We've had this before with machine learning and AI. I sincerely believe that that's the future of pharmaceuticals in general. It's got to be, because only an AI really has the ability to take what we have for the world's knowledge and then apply it in unique ways, maybe outside our human thinking. Did you see something in
Yeah.
particular?
Well, I was just thinking that one of the problems with viruses is that they can't usually pinpoint which one it is. And so they may not even have a vaccine for it, or they don't know what to give you as treatment, et cetera. So, I mean, this could help tremendously if, and especially if they start, it says at the end that they could export this to other types of viruses.
Yep. Once they have the classification, the genomic signatures, they'll be able to classify it to a greater range, make a more holistic understanding of viruses in general, and then maybe find a one-stop fits all kind of a antivirus solution, which would be spectacular, because using sanitizer is actually really bad for you. The sanitizer itself, over a longer period of time, it does damage, even cellular damage, if I recall my information correctly. So at any rate, this is a pretty fascinating article, and there's more to it, but you have to either go over to phys.org to read it or go and download this article from the journal Frontiers in Molecular Biosciences from 2024. Pretty wild, but neat. Good luck. All right.
Neat but terrifying, right? I mean, it's like, oh, there's 191 viruses.
Yeah. Well, there's like 500 of them, and they just managed to classify 191 of them just using a new program, a new way to look at it. So I love this stuff. Okay, well, we raced down Main Street. Oh my God. Yeah, that wasn't, you heard it, but they didn't. They saw me turn red, though. At any rate, I am Mayor Watt, and all around ohmTown is the sentient AI from the future. You want to say adios, virus?
No, but I will say goodnight, hometown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
See you soon, everybody. Ew, I got a virus on me. Yuck.